This is
Welcome to 2018. 2019, because I know what year it is. I knew it was the beginning of the year. I forgot that meant the last year changed.
We're a little backward where we live, but we're not like a whole year behind.
Just only in styles, not in actual time.
Anyways, hello! It is 2019. This is the Makes Monday podcast, but it is not going to follow the usual format. There will not be a word of the week. Instead, it's going to be more kind of like after the fair, when I do like a county fair review of all the things that I entered in the fair and whatever. This is going to be a review of the year. And today I'm joined by my lovely hubandstance.
That's me.
Steve. So I went through and I rewatched every Makes Monday podcast from the last year. Well, I rewatched the What's on My Hook thing. I'm not going to talk about all 82 finished items, which I actually realized there's a couple that I still didn't make on that list. There's like probably closer to 85 finished objects for the year, which is an average monthly of 6.83 projects finished. And there's still, more that are in progress. So.
Now, if you round up to 85, though, that gets you all the way to 7.
Yeah. I'm probably closer to 7. And I mean, then I don't even know if this counts some of the things that I made and then frogged and then made and then frogged and I don't know. I probably shouldn't make it sound like I spent any more hours crocheting than I did because I've already spent more than my fair share of hours crocheting this year. So, I went through and I watched all of those parts of the things that were off my hook. I will link the playlist for all of the podcasts on the end if you missed something or you want to go see it. We'll talk about them by month. And the title cards for the podcast show the date on each one. So if you're looking for something that happened in like February, there's really nothing that happened in February. If you're looking for something like that happened in July, there is a July title card on that. Anyways, I went through and I made a list of all the items. And then I walked Steve through that list of items. And I showed him visual aids of what they were. Because just telling him the name of something or even describing something I wore earlier this week in great detail does not mean that he remembers it. As we figured out with the Bracken cardigan.
I do, to be fair, I feel like a lot of them, the descriptions are very similar, even though I understand I see them, that they are very different things. So when
I say a cardigan that's striped and then I give you, like, very specific colors, you think it's a cardigan that is very different colors.
Sorry.
But, I don't know. Anyways, we walked through the visual description, like the special picture menu at McDonald's, and you picked your favorites.
I did. One from each month?
One from each month. And then I also picked my favorite project from each month. And so there's a big pile over here that Jezebel is lording over. Please don't scratch the couch while we do this. Thank you. So she is over there watching the pile, and we will walk through and talk about the items that made everybody's top list for the year. Shall we start with January?
Yes, we should.
Okay. So Steve's favorite item from January was also my favorite item from January, so I will let him talk about it first after I tell you what it is. These are my attempt at the Gorman Street toe-up sock from the Ron Strong Step Into Crochet book. It was on the episode on the 29th of January. They are made out of Red Heart, Heart and Soul with aloe in, I forget the name of the colorway. So, thoughts, Steve? Would you like to touch them? They're clean,
sure.
They're fresh and washed. Oh, by the way, this yarn does the washer and dryer like a dream.
I really liked it just because they were your kind of start of your attempt at socks. And so, I like them from a historical perspective. I think they look very nice when you wear them and everything, but you have made much nicer socks since then.
Well, yes, because these are actually, they're like, oh, here it is. This is how you make it into a sock puppet, because I made a little mistake, because I didn't understand. It's like the truth steak on couplings. I made a mistake.
I will not refer to it as what they refer to it as.
Thank you. That is good.
We named a Mr. and Mrs. Sock Puppet. We put no effort into this show.
That would be Gilmore Girls. So many puppet references. But I made a little mistake because I didn't understand which part of the sock. If you've never made socks, this will make sense. And if you make them all the time, you'll think I'm an idiot. I didn't get which part was the foot and which part was the gusset. And so it told me to do something to a certain point. And then, anyways, I made my increases on the wrong part of the foot. And then, so it's big in the wrong places and then kind of small in some weird places. So a little bit of the heel sticks out because I hadn't realized yet how, like, what size heel. And I actually made this shallower than the pattern called for. But yeah, then there's the weird increases, and the ankle thusly is not quite tight enough, but I wear them all the time. These were a fun project. I made them when I went out to California by myself in January, so my parents got to hear me learn how to make a sock, and they learned the anatomy of a sock, and unfortunately I may have taught them some of the parts the wrong names, as indicated, but I finished them as soon as I got home, so they're a fun memory, because that was an interesting experience making these socks every day I was there and talking through the process. And I really have never held them on my hand like this, like a sock puppet, but I really kind of love it. And I kind of want to make some sock puppets.
I was looking at it, and they kind of naturally have the, like, super high, like, curve.
Yeah.
I was thinking maybe you are missing the rock climbing shoe market.
They do fit my foot a lot like my rock climbing shoes. So this is what it looks like on a foot instead of on my hand. But you can see the heel, point to my heel, is, like, weirdly pointy. The part that's, like, sticking out of the side anyways. And then the toe is it's not big enough. So I have progressed.
But they're fun. They're cute when you wear them.
And like I said, they wash really nice.
I don't think you wear these, like, in shoes, though, right? Really, if you can avoid it.
No, not usually, because they're weird dimensions. They don't fit right. Plus, I kind of don't want to ruin them, which is the potential when wearing them in shoes.
Right.
So, okay, so that was everybody's favorite January project. Now, next we move on to February. So this is the book that I started at the beginning of January last year. See, it says My Life in Color 2018, and then I kind of quit filling it out in February. So I went back and I'm filling in some of the pages. Now I can't find, February FOs. Here they are. I made, in January, in total, I finished 11 things. February, I finished 3. And Steve and I have different favorites. My favorite isn't here, because I don't know where it is. It's another pair of socks. The Pullman socks out of Step Into Crochet by Ron Strong. Also made out of Red Heart, Heart and Soul with aloe, but they're in like a pink and yellowy colorway. And I wore them recently, and they're in my room somewhere, I think. But I couldn't readily place my hands on them when I looked in the places I think I keep my socks. So,
those weren't the ones that I put on top of your laundry basket this morning.
No, that was those.
That was those. Okay, that's what I was thinking.
They'll show up. But I picked a second pair of socks, which was my second pair of socks.
That you finished.
Yeah, that I finished. Nicole, Addicted to Yarn podcast, made a similar pair in a different color at the time. And I finished those in the February 5th episode. Now, Steve's favorite is this, which actually made 2 appearances on the podcast last year. This is the Lodge sweater, which is a paid-for pattern from the Annie's website. This is made out of Karen Jumbo, which is kind of like Karen 1 Pound, in the Dalmatian colorway. Doesn't it look like a Dalmatian?
A little, yes.
Dalmatians are white.
It's not black and white like a Dalmatian, but I do feel like those colors make it seem somewhat Dalmatian inspired. It's what Cruella de Vil's jacket would look like if it was made with not real Dalmatians.
Oh. So now I'm thinking it's my Cruella de Vil sweater.
There you go. So now you're really going to like it.
I'm going to like this more now. So this sweater made 2 appearances this year. The first one is when Steve picked it. Because, well, he didn't pick it because of this, but it made 2 appearances because I started wearing it and then realized it was not long enough. It didn't cover my butt, and I was always trying to pull it down in the front because it rode up. So I added more length to it later in the year. But what would you like to say about the sweater, Steve?
Well, I always have liked the way, like, it fits your arms. I think it goes to a very nice length on your arms.
Note, I modified the pattern. I left.
Yes.
I was just going to say, to anybody who's going to make this, I don't recommend this pattern, especially if you are a larger person, because it did not scale up appropriately, I don't think, when they made it. So, yeah, but I made changes to make the arms. See, like, the changes I made to make the arms fit.
Mm-hmm. And I just have found it nice the way it sits over you. And I think it's one of the items that you've made that actually is fully wearable as a piece of clothing versus a lot of the things where you've made that are like over accessories. Yes. Not that there's anything wrong with those either, but I enjoy the ones that are a piece unto themselves.
We have discovered, Steve and I, when discussing the list, Steve definitely prefers function.
Yes.
Which sometimes means the things he picks, I don't think are pretty. Like, all the things I think I find that I don't like about the sweater. I don't know. I do agree with all his reasons for liking it, but I also think there's lots of things about it. Like, this could just be so much better looking. And in the future, I'll make more sweaters that are, so.
Right.
I'm definitely, like, doing the lodge sweaters did make me willing to make the commitment to make garments. Garments for me are a big commitment because there's a lot of yarn in a sweater for me. A lot. Goodness, I can only imagine doing one out of, like, indie dyed. That'd be...
Price-wise, you mean?
Yeah. I have a really hard time with the idea of justifying a sweater that's $150 when I won't spend $15 to buy one at a thrift store. So it's just really difficult. It says there were 3 projects in February. And then we move on to March, where I made 7 items. So Steve and I picked different items. Would you like to go first? Do you want me to go first?
I can go first for this one if you'd like. I was thinking with February, with only 3 items, and that we both chose one of them. Do you feel like the third one should get mentioned just because it would feel left out otherwise?
Oh, I could. The third one was the comfort cowl, is what I called it. It's a cowl I designed while we were in California for Mom's funeral. It was made out of some Michael's Chameleon. Remember when we went on the Great Grieving Yarn Haul at Michael's? When you got to go with a brain-dead Kendra who couldn't even pick yarn? I literally just, like, spun in circles in the aisles and didn't even, like, I had carte blanche to buy whatever I wanted and couldn't even think of things I wanted to buy.
Right.
Which is kind of how a lot of my year has gone. But I did buy some yarn, and I've turned many of the things I bought into beautiful things. And the rest will turn into new beautiful things, hopefully this year, actually. Alrighty, speaking of Mom's funeral, this is your favorite. I'm going to hold it outside and drink some coffee so I can quit coughing. That is the Sidewalk Shawl, which is a free pattern from the Red Heart website, made out of a Karen Big Cakes, 2 of them. I made most of this while we watched Coco with my dad, and the cakes were on clearance as part of the reason I bit the bullet and actually bought some Karen Big Cakes finally. And are you noticing that the stripes are kind of funny and they don't make sense?
No, I was just trying to hold them up so they could be seen.
Because I was going to explain why.
Oh, okay, you should explain why.
Do you remember this? You'll probably remember making this, and how I kept hitting you on the arm and going, look, there's another knot. And another knot. I do remember that, and another knot.
And you were very annoyed by that.
Yes, that was this shawl. Yeah, what would you like to say about it?
I really like the way this one goes with your hair outside of the purple.
You can see it matching my hair because I think there's some hair over there. Yes. I've worn most of these since I've washed them.
And there's, even again, the way those colors, kind of the greenish and the bluish, go along with your hair. And then I also think it goes nice with your clothing color scheme. Because frequently you like the way things look with your hair, but not with what you have to wear underneath it.
That's true.
And so this one...
It even matches my muumuu.
It does.
I wore it with my muumuu. Not that I wear my muumuu very often.
No. But it matches...
My muumuu is a dress outfit in our family. That's what happens when you're Hawaiian.
I was just thinking of how our fancy cow was said that
that's
they could
right.
be
So
elegant cow
So
is
we
what it was. Sorry.
we did an art project with the kids the last couple of days, making a calendar, and I made a bowl of adjectives and nouns, and we mixed them together to make silly phrases, and then they drew pictures of them. And one of them was elegant cow. So our son drew a cow, and we're like, well, what makes it elegant? And then we're talking about how, you know, like, he dressed fancy, so he made it a moo-moo.
Yes, a moo-moo.
Puns. They run in the blood.
He couldn't think of anything for quite a while, and then all of a sudden just goes,
got really excited.
He could wear a moo-moo.
That was funny.
I like the fun little, I don't know, I think they look like a gather, even though I'm sure they have a name that's not that.
These are called pineapples. Do you see it? If this is the top of the pineapple and how it goes down like a
okay, yeah, I do.
Fruit, these are called pineapples. This pattern, this is the third one that I've made. It is actually one of my favorite patterns for just like a wearing around shawl. Wish I had designed it myself. So check it out on the Red Heart website. I have mentioned before though, this is a pattern that even though it is super simple, there is one row of the repeat that just my brain cannot handle. So like in any mental state, even when I'm like on my game. So if you decide to make this, I put a star in the pattern next to whatever row it is. I don't remember what it is off the top of my head, but you'll know when you hit it. And I literally say out loud the steps I'm doing through that row every time it comes up in the repeat. It makes a difference, and it keeps you from making mistakes, which you frequently, when you're making a pineapple, you won't discover you've made the mistake till you are many rows in, and all of a sudden, there's nowhere to go.
It's a coconut tree.
Yes, it's a coconut tree. Chicka chicka boom boom. Okay. My favorite thing that I made in March is another sweater. March was kind of harder to choose between because I do really like that one. I liked a cowl that I made. I
think she cheated because she knew what my favorite was, so she picked that to be her favorite.
I was actually
both be on.
I was actually gonna just do a double favorite for this month, but then you picked that one, so I was like, oh well, then I'll talk about this one. So this is the first cardigan I ever made myself. I think that ended up like a full cardigan that I actually figured out a way to finagle enough yarn for sleeves. This also is the second pattern that I made from Heidi May of the Velvet Acorn. I know you're all sick of hearing me say that name because I say it a lot because I love her cardigan patterns. I'd made the Carberry before. This is the Reminisce. And I started it out of this gray, which was mill end stuff from Joann's. And I had gobs of it, I thought. And then I realized, very sadly, just how much yarn it takes to make a cardigan for myself. So I took some Loops and Threads Wool-like, and I held it triple with 2 of the dark gray and 1 of the dark purple, and continued on to make the bottom. And I happened to just guesstimate and make the sleeves and the bottom, like when I'm wearing this, they line up perfectly. You know, so it looks like I'm drowning in a little puddle of the gray and purple. This pattern has the weird thing where, you know, you have like a thumb hole, so it can be like fingerless mitts. I thought I would utilize that more than I do, but I actually usually wear it with it rolled up.
Because you usually like to wear fingerless mitts if it's cold enough for that.
Yeah, I also just found that I kind of actually like my cardigans to go up a little bit on my arm. Mm-hmm. It's more comfortable because our house is cold enough. I actually wear these things all the time. They're not just like an additional item. So, yeah, that's it. Oh, and I also really, really like these buttons. Note, I have bought a set of them in the gray and the green. These are available at Joann's, but I never know. Since I like it, they're gonna disappear. So I have more waiting in stash because I want to use them eventually. I've actually considered getting more of these purple ones just to have at the ready when that time comes. So last time they had a big button sale, they were out of the purple ones, clearly meaning they are wonderful buttons. Made 3 things in April, and only one of them is like substantial. So Steve and I both picked the same thing. And I didn't complete this until the 23rd of April. So, oh no, here it is. I had 2 stacks. Pardon. Thanks. This is the Dragon Belly shawl by Miho Crochet. It's made out of some Plymouth yarn. I want to say like dandelion or something. Cat.
Stop it.
Hey. This was yarn. I had been yarn ferried from your coworker. I started it on the train when I came back from seeing Dad in April. Peachlet picked it for me. It's cotton. It's amazing. I really, really like this yarn. And of course, it's discontinued.
Of course.
Because I like it so much, I would legit have paid to like buy some.
No, this isn't the same as what the sweater vest was made out of, right?
No, that was Karen Simply Soft.
Okay. This
is a cotton base. But it's really pretty, and it looks pretty this direction. And then the back side is a different texture. But I highly recommend this pattern. It's addictive. It's pretty. It's simple once you understand what's happening. The increases is the main reason you even need to read the pattern. But once you understand it, good things. Thoughts?
I agree. I like the simplicity of the look of it, but it also means that, like, as you wrap it, it offers multiple ways to kind of appear around you in terms of the blue and the green.
Yeah, and these are not colors I normally wear.
No.
But I use it with my black dress, so I usually wear this with. But yeah, it's surprisingly simple pattern for me to choose. I tend to not, I don't know, they're not challenging. But this was challenging enough, and I was completely brain dead in April, so this was super challenging, actually. So it was a good thing. Are you picking cat fur and things off it?
No, I was picking Kendra fur off it. I could tell because it was purple.
Yeah, I'm kind of a giveaway now. So that is the dragon belly. Now we're on to May. My favorite FO of May was I made no finishes in May.
Oopsie.
At all. So, yeah, they're all my favorite. Then we're on to June.
We finished off the walls in your office.
We did.
In
Oh,
May.
that's what I was doing in May. That's right. So I got back from California, and then we went about doing my office and the floors, and then it just rolled into the fair.
Yes.
Like as soon as we weren't even really completely done, and then fair season started, and yeah. So you can go back and see all of those fun things on the podcast. Okay, so I finished 3 things in June, and we had separate favorite things. Mine I do not have with me because, again, I could not readily place my hands on it. I finished making the first of a set of placemats called the Normal Texture Ribbed Placemats. I don't think I've actually released the pattern. I meant to. Maybe they're up. I should check on that. I've made 2 sets of placemats in the same yarn, which makes it a little confusing for me sometimes. But I really liked making the placemats. I need to gift them to somebody. That is why I do not have them, because they are in a bag in my closet, and I could not get to them. But you can see them in several of the podcasts from June and July. And then Steve's favorite is actually, I don't know, this one. I'll let you talk about it, and then I'll talk about it. This is the Virus Granny. If you search for it on Ravelry, it's a free pattern that combines the virus shawl pattern and a granny square together. This was yarn I had been yarn ferried. I had a whole bunch of gold Super Saver that I freaker frogged out of some like old advent calendar pouches that I had made. So yeah.
Mostly I just like it because it is a separate color palette than you normally wear. I know it's not one that you particularly like all that much.
Have you ever seen me actually wear this?
I don't think so. Am I wrong?
I've never actually worn it because it's a separate color palette from what I normally wear.
So it really just meant that it was my favorite of the 3 options that you gave me for that month.
Well, yes, because there was this, a dust mop cover, and a placemat.
Right. Which of the placemats weren't for me.
We also discovered addition to functional. Steve likes things that benefit him. So this...
Well, or you.
Well, yes, but if there's 3 things on a list and the one that benefits you the most out of them
probably going to
be your favorite. So, on this, I don't know. I'm trying to decide what to do with it. I have somebody who actually, if they want it, I will gift it. I have considered frogging it. I have considered donating it, but I've yet to found a cause that I feel like it's the right thing to donate it to. So for now, it just sits folded on the shelf, and I look at it a lot and think I should wear that.
And then you don't, because it's not your color palette.
And I don't really like the way it looks with my hair.
I assume it's mostly the gold that you don't.
Well, I think that if I did like the gold with black or purple,
then it would be okay.
It would be okay. It's these icky jewel tone. Like, this reads as jewel tone. Because I have a lavender and white and purple scarf that's with this color, and I like it just fine. It actually matches my hair really nice. So, I don't know. We'll see. This is probably not going to make it as part of my wardrobe in 2019. So, but it sat there long enough that I just accepted. I kept thinking maybe I was going to change my mind, but I don't think I'm going to change my mind. Okay.
See, I helped convince you.
Yeah, but I still haven't decided what I'm going to do with it. So, July. In July, I finished 15 things. And
Harder choices in July.
And many of them were big. My favorite, I don't have with me. But, actually, I have two favorites. But my favorite, because of just scale and complexity and the fact that I actually finished it, would be my Tides of Change Afghan, which is a free pattern by Franco Randall that I made for my nephew for his graduation from high school. And you all saw it for a long time, because it took me a long time
to get it done.
Yeah, because it was big.
But then it was very loved by its recipients.
And apparently it has come out of hiding because it has finally gotten cold enough in California to require a blanket outside of his bedroom. So
for like 3 weeks he can use it, and then it'll be too warm again.
Yeah. So that was my favorite. And Steve's favorite I forgot to bring in.
Uh-oh.
I'll go grab it.
What was it?
It's super functional. It's serving its function.
It's the utensil holder.
He had 3 to choose from, and he picked this one. For what reason, Steve?
It was the first one, or it was the biggest.
And it's the one you use most because it holds the wooden spoons. So he picked the favorite based on the utility of the item inside rather than based on the item itself.
Now, to be fair, I did ask. I said, am I supposed to pick my favorite or the best constructed? And you said pick your favorite.
I know. I was just pointing out. And I made this one is probably the plainest because I knew it would be the most used because I was going to put my wooden spoons in it. And it handles them so well because none of them poke through the bottom. We can wash it and all the things. So this hangs, if you have not seen. My kitchen has shelves, open shelving with my spices on it. And there's like 2 old style
like towel bars. But
they're
like not as wide as a towel bar.
Yeah, they're like one piece of metal and it's bent so that way they don't come apart like most towel bars do. And they are bolted into the wall, and then these hang over them. So
that way we didn't have to have a big crock on the counter to hold them all.
Yep, and these are so much easier to wash than the canisters ever were.
Right.
And I have hardly had to wash them. I don't think I've washed them since I hung them all up.
Well,
because they're on the wall.
Yeah, they're not right next to the stove where all the stuff splatters on them.
Yeah, so I really like these. But not as much as I like that gigantic Afghan that I spent literal hundreds of hours on. Okay. In August, I finished 4 things. And do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first?
I could go first on this one.
Okay. This is the original prototype for the Think With Your Heart hat, which is a pattern I designed that goes along with my second pick from the last month. I meant to mention this. In addition to liking the Tides of Change, I also made my Inspirit Mint shawl in July, which is the pattern that goes out for free to anybody who's a patron on Patreon at the $2 level and above. As soon as you sign up, you get access to that pattern. And it hangs on my wall as the Schwall of Fame. So it's just kind of really pretty on my wall. And I really like the pattern. This hat is a like a companion piece. This is available in Peachlet's Pattern Pile on Patreon. This is the first prototype, however, and this is not exactly how the finished pattern turned out, but my daughter saw this one, and I was going to maybe frog it, and she's like, no, that's mine. And as you can tell, it has been well loved. This is made out of loops and threads, soft and shiny, which is a really good shiny yarn that doesn't split, though, when you work with it. And that is what I have to say about the hat. What do you have to say? Why is it your favorite?
Well, I really like it because I like the way it looks on our daughter. I think that it's a color palette that will last a long time with her, that she'll frequently do the light green and gray or light green and black.
I don't know where she gets that from.
Well, you're not as much on the green, just the black and the gray.
Have you seen the walls that you painted of my office?
Well, I meant on your clothing.
Oh, that is true. It's hard to find grown-up clothes in this color. If I could find more, I probably would wear more.
Like that. So that's why I like it. I just think the coloring goes so well with her. And she likes it so much. She always looks so happy when she wears it.
Do you like the stitch patterning in the top? Do you notice that even through the decreases, the texture pattern continues? You probably have not inspected the pattern for this hat very much, just the way it looks on, huh?
I have not, just the way it looks on. But I do like the stripes.
Was that very blah, 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 blah ginger?
No. Should it have been? I could tune out if you wanted.
No, I was just curious if it was or not. That's a Far Side comic, by the way. There's a dog, and it shows the person like saying all the words at the dog that you say at a dog, and all the dog hears is blah, 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 blah. Ginger. Like. Alrighty, so my favorite thing from August is this, which I made in August and then didn't get to start wearing till like a couple weeks ago because it got too hot. So this is the Uwilla shawl. I actually started this in February when we were out in California. This is a free pattern on Ravelry. However, I made a big change. It's called the Uwilla shawl because Uwilla means owl. Do you see any owls?
I don't.
No, but remember I made the owls, the top of them, and I didn't like them, so I frogged them out. This had been yarn fairy to me. I think it's some Cascade Heritage Sport, and I tried to guess what the color was because I was going to need more yarn, and I frequently will just make do with what I have, but Steve convinced me that I should just buy the more yarn, especially when I went to buy it, and it was not expensive. I got it from Jimmy Bean Wool, and I could have made it even cheaper if I bought more of it, but I only bought what I needed because I expected it to be more, and so it was only like $8 even with shipping for what I needed. So I was like, okay, I can handle that. And I got this skein here, which turns out to be more silver. So I striped it with something else. I forget now. Oh, this had been, I got this in a yarn swap from somebody from Australia. So I just did the body pattern through the whole thing and figured out the increases myself. And I've worn it several times since it's gotten cold. I like it. It's warm.
And that one's one you can wrap around kind of multiple times, right, if you want?
I usually just wear it like this, just because then it goes further down on my arms. This one I have to wear this way. I don't really wear it. A lot of my shawls I wear in the front, but this one does not lend itself to that. So that's the Uwilla shawl. I would recommend the pattern. It's mostly made in what they call the hopscotch stitch, which was really pleasant to do and I think looks really nice. You do have to play a little with what size hook you use. And if you've never tried making owl cables in crochet, I probably wouldn't recommend it. This is the second project I tried doing them on, and I kind of always think they look ugly. They look nice when I see other people's, but I don't really enjoy the act of doing it, and the finished product always turns out a little questionable to me. So, that's that. This heap is getting big, and we're not even through September yet. Speaking of September, we had separate favorites in September, too. Here, you can talk about yours.
Okay. This is a top that she made. Black on top, rainbow on the bottom.
It's called Butter Brickle on the bottom.
Butter Brickle on the bottom.
This is more of the yarn I bought in the Grieving yarn haul.
I really like this one.
It's inside out. You'd think he's doing this for effect. This is how he turns my clothes inside out, because my clothes are all cattywampus all the time.
You never know where the right place to flip them through is. No. Or hang them on the line, for those of us that do the laundry. But this is one of the first tops that she made that I thought really fit her quite well. I like the way it fits over like your shoulders and arms. I like the way it fits over your front. Because you are curvy and sometimes those things don't always fit in the right places. But this one does. And so that's why I like it so much. And then it also is an item that ventures into some color for you, but still is also the black that you like.
Mm-hmm. And well, on the black, by my hair.
Right.
So like if this was by my hair, it would not look as good, but it was fine this way. So, do you know how this came about?
I do not know how this came about.
So, it was supposed to be this way. I was making a Havana shirt dress, you know, the pink dress that I wear all the time.
Uh-huh.
So, it was supposed to be like this, and this was the bodice. And then I ran out of yarn because I only had one skein, which I knew was going to happen. But I didn't like the way it was hanging, and I didn't have anything I liked to make a skirt. So, I continued it as far as it would go. And then the only thing I had in stash that would match was the Heartland. So then I made the top. And then I found I had buttons in stash that matched. Though the orange one doesn't like to stay buttoned. So that's how that happened. And I just made up the pattern to fit my body. I kept trying it on. Which is probably why it fits so good, is because it's not based on a pattern.
It's based on
me. And actually, if you unbutton it, it's got this kind of wonky... Like, the neck is not square.
Yeah, it's slightly
off, on purpose, which means that it has enough give in it to properly cover my bust when it comes back. So, anyways, that's that. I think it's the butter brickle top because for some reason this is called butter brickle. I have never eaten butter brickle with anything blue in it.
Or red.
Well, I could even go with red as like, you know, like a dark orangey, like a candy. Like, that could have been okay. But the blue just really throws me. But that I also had gotten on clearance at Michael's. And that one did not have as many knots as its friend. So that's good. My favorite finish in September is this. Which probably is covered in dog fur because we pulled it directly off the couch where I'd been using it last night. It's my Scrap Stash blanket. Which is so big.
I want to hide too.
Okay, it's so big and so cozy, and I hide under it all the time. And yeah, I like it. And it's got ends poking out. It's got newspaper stuck to it. It's got some ends poking out just because of the way that I had woven them in. But it's fine. This is very much a utilitarian piece.
Mm-hmm.
But I also...
She picked it because it's functional for her.
Yeah, well, plus, this is gobs and gobs of hours of work, too.
Right.
And all the things that all of these scraps came off of are gobs and gobs of hours of work. So, anyways, now that I've talked about it, I'll tuck my toes under it, and I'll just leave it on, because I'm cold. Okay. Oh, did you want some, too? I'm sorry.
No, I was looking for there's a spot where there's, like, the start of a rainbow.
Oh, yeah, it is a rainbow. Do you know what it's from?
I assume from the rainbow mat.
No, when I was making... It's over
there
here.
It is.
When I was making patterns...
Red, orange, purple. Oh, I didn't mean that. I meant the actual squares.
Oh. I thought you meant this, because these are from the sample that I made when I made the tutorial video when I was making patterns for the other website. So...
No, it's much more me style, where it's like I saw red and orange next to another color, and so I started to feel like it was a rainbow, and then there's yellow next to it, and then pink isn't in the rainbow, but it's there.
Can I put my toes back under now?
Yes.
Okay, thanks. My feet are cold. They weren't so cold until I got them warmer. Okay. So if we can finish this before...
You should put your socks on.
They're under the heap now, though. It would take me so long to get them out. Okay, so in October, I finished 12 things. And Steve picked his favorite, and then he picked a favorite again, because I informed him the favorite he picked didn't quite work. So, here's his first favorite. which is a linen vest based off of this. Actually, I think it's a drops yarn pattern. But it was made out of some Barocco that I'd gotten in LYS by my parents. I made this like 3 or 4 years ago. And it didn't fit right. The bottom was too like long and it was wonky. So I retooled it. I had to rip out the entirety of the front and the bottom and then make some changes and put them back together. But it also meant that now the front part is longer and will actually cover my chest. So, yeah. But I didn't know you liked it so much till we were watching the video.
But yeah, once you fixed it, you started wearing it a pretty decent amount.
Not very much, but if I knew you liked it, I'd probably wear it more. Because, I don't know, I feel kind of neither here nor there about it, but it's fine. So I'm glad it's fixed. But I told him that since the majority of this had not been done this year, or even in this, like, batch of me being a crocheter, that he should pick something else. So, he picked this, which I know is a favorite of many people's. This is another Reminisce cardigan based on the pattern by Heidi May of the Velvet Acorn. However, I used a different gauge of yarn than the pattern calls for, so I did some mathing and I made some changes to it because of that. So, this was a Let Peach Lit pick. Out of the black is Red Heart with Love, and then the grays and the browns are all just things out of stash. And I rolled a dice to figure out the striping components.
But
what are your thoughts?
I really like it because it is one of the things that you've made for yourself that is fully, like, functional. Because frequently you decide to pick things that it's like, I'm going to make a cardigan, and then it won't keep you warm, and you can't wear it when it's cold, but it's too much when it's warm.
Have I done that with any cardigans?
I don't know that you've done it with any cardigans.
But I think
but
all of my cardigans I can wear.
That's probably true. But I meant things in general, so
okay.
I used cardigan as an example. I apologize. But I like it when you make stuff that is more to your clothing liking and functional liking.
We also come up against the fact, again, that those things all take more than a skein or two of yarn.
I know.
Thus making them much more expensive.
Yes.
I bought some yarn, so I was trying to do this all out of stash, because this was a Let Peach Lit pick, and I ran out of the black yarn, and I had to buy more, which I realized, I mean, I buy cheap yarn, but I prefer to not have to, if I have it on hand. I like to use up what I have before I buy more, so, I guess if I wear the things, then I don't feel so bad. My favorite for October was the beginning of a weird obsession. I have started to really like to make, well, I'm endeavoring to make a handmade wardrobe, which eventually almost everything I wear I will have made as opposed to having purchased any of it. But this was my Halloween dress where I crocheted the top out of that fabulous green loops and thread, soft and shiny. I really, really like this color. It's called Citrus, in case you're interested. And so I made up the pattern for the top, and then I sewed the skirt, and I sewed them fully together. So they're a dress, and it's wonderful, and it's super comfy.
Mm-hmm.
And this one, like a bunch of the ones I've been making now, I've actually been sewing the skirts with elastic in the waist, and then sewing the sweater over the top, which helps keep the bodice, like, up on its own. But this one, the fabric is gathered and just sewn, so there's no elastic or anything. It's just held in place by the stitches around the gathering. So, I don't know whether one way is better than the other. This was just my first attempt. I think I probably would pick the elastic version as better because it holds its shape better when I'm wearing it.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, did you have thoughts on this one?
No, I like it. I think it was a very nice setup. I liked it. It was your first attempt, and you will see that there's one that I do pick as my favorite in a later month.
And there's more coming down the pipe.
Yeah. But no, I like that you found a way to both combine endeavors, I guess,
mm-hmm.
and then also that you would wear it.
And they wash nice. So
it did wash very nice.
I was a little concerned with how they were going to hold up washing. But they do good. In the washer and dryer, I obviously would not try and hang any of these out on the line.
Well, you would hang it upside down.
I would worry that the weight of I would probably, if I was going to dry them, I'd hang them over the shower bar. I would not go put them in the wind. So don't hang them on the line. I guess I should tell you that now. Steve does the laundry. Okay. So in November, I finished 2 things. And so Steve and I picked the same thing because, well, there just weren't that many options. And this is the wool Inspiritment. So this is my Inspiritment pattern that I mentioned before. This is the wool version I made out of some purple that I had gotten. It's some Araucania from Jessica, who is Sarah Nova Crafts. I got it from her years ago. And I've tried many things and they were never working out. So I finally paired them with this green and this fuchsia color that I had been yarn fairied. Yeah, I really like it. And it's warm and it's smooshy and it's huge. And yeah, I should wear it more. But I feel like this is also one of those pieces where it's very much like a statement piece. Like if I wear it one day and I were to wear it the next day, it looks like I haven't changed my clothes.
Very obvious.
Yeah, so I try to space it out a little. But I definitely feel like in this next year, I need more things that are this color.
Uh-huh.
Don't you agree?
Like
I do like that color. And what color is that? Is that off-white?
Fuchsia.
This is what happens when you've been dating since high school. You end up with
I still think that dress was not fuchsia. It was red.
I had a beautiful fuchsia dress. It was black lace over a fuchsia underlay.
It was red.
You probably weren't even paying attention to the color of the dress. It was strapless.
I remember.
Anyways, I mentioned before that the Inspiritment is a slightly asymmetrical shawl. So as you can see here, I'm trying to fold it up, and you see how it's not a triangle. I mean, it's a triangle, but it's not a right triangle? Equilateral triangle?
Well, it would just not...
It's neither. It's an...
Well, that would be a right triangle. Kind of...
No, but I mean the thing itself.
Oh, okay, yes.
No, it has no 90 degree...
It would be a common triangle.
Yeah. But it's neither of the other two. Anyways, here it is. I like it. That was my pick for November. Then on to December, where I showed on podcasts finishing 9 things. And then I finished like 4 or 5 things that didn't make it to the podcasts. So that's how that goes. But Steve and I picked 2 separate things. Do you want to go first, or do you want to start?
Sure, I can go first.
So here is the one that Steve picked. This was a Let Peach Lip pick. She picked this skein of Lion Brand Heartland in, I don't know, some kind of naturally color. Which actually Steve picked this yarn because I bought it at Goodwill. It was one of your finds of like, hey, don't you like this brand? And when we sniffed it, it didn't smell like somebody's moldy basement. It smelled like Joann's. And it was like, ooh, this still smells like brand new. We should buy that. So we did. And then this is Vanna's Choice in Rust. And then this is some fabric that I've had in stash forever. And this one has the thing I talked about on the inside. See, I'm not wearing it, so I can show you what's under the skirt. I can't usually...
be quite a different video if you were showing it when you were on.
So the skirt has French seams, so everything's enclosed. And then I just did a pocket for elastic in it. And then I made the top, and then the top is sewn on under the elastic. So there's like a couple inches that go underneath. So it holds everything in place, both everything about the dress and then everything about me. It's useful. So now that I've shown my underskirts, what are your thoughts, Steve? Other than the fact that when I hold it like this, I'm not that tiny. It stretches equally as huge this way, and actually, I can't wear this one without something underneath, or it's indecent. So I have a lace colored, like a black lace over like nude camisole that I wear underneath it.
But I really again, I like the combination of the crocheted top and the skirt on the bottom. But then also I like that you use this fabric because you had it in stash for so long, and I felt like you kept trying to think of something for yourself that you could use it for, and you finally came up with something. So I like that.
They're colors that I didn't think I was going to like on me as much, but I do like this.
No, you look very good in browns.
Yeah, well, it's more the, like, orangey. Like, this is just, it's not a common color combination to find, like, in a store. Like,
yes.
This is not, this is what our couch looks like.
Well, and yes, when they make orange and brown to sell, I feel like they're like, we're going to put this on the rack to see if nobody can ever look good in it. But you actually do look good in oranges and browns that are
the right colors.
The right color for you.
I like this, like doing some off-white, because white does not last in my life, but I could do more cream. Maybe I'll do more cream this year, I don't know. I like cream in my coffee. Cream in my coffee. Okay, speaking of coffee, I should have a sip of my coffee. Alrighty, and my favorite FO of December, as most of you probably guess, is this, which I guess I still haven't woven in the ends, but I also have not blocked this yet, because I'm a slacker. And it's gotten cold, and I just haven't gotten around to it because I think it's going to take a while to dry. This is Jovial Junipers, which is my pattern that I made for Jolly Joy and Other Junk, which was a Advent holiday countdown experience that went from the end of November through my birthday. And look at all the beads!
It's like the trees are decorated.
And you see how they're like really heavily beaded at the top and then it gets lighter? Like how a tree should be flocked.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyways, I made this out of some yarn from Cattails Yarn. This is in her Merino Stellina base. But I guess she's naming the bases. So I don't know what the base is yet. And this is from when she very, very, very first started dyeing. I had this yarn in stash for like almost a year before I used it. And I kept looking for the right project, and then this struck me as it. In fact, this yarn was the inspiration to start doing the project. But this is a non-repeatable colorway, because it was from when she started dyeing. And I had the 2 colors of blue beads in stash from forever ago, because I own all the beads, and I'm trying to use them all up. And I really like the ends over here. I put all these beads on the tips. And, well, there are the tree motifs. The way I usually wear this is like this, and it'll get longer when I block it because it's gonna stretch. And yeah, then you have the beads are kind of all randomly around because of the way that the trees are. So that's fun. Mm-hmm. And I'm looking forward to wearing this one. I'm in process actually of making a dress with a blue top, and I have some blue and yellow fabric already that I can make a dress that will then be worn with this in the forevers from now. So someday that'll get finished. Let's add it to the list. We can talk about it next year, hopefully, because hopefully it'll be done. But that was Jovial Junipers, the shawls I've been talking about but not showing you. And that, my friends, is everything that we favorited for the year. Woot woot.
Woot woot.
So, what would you like for me? I told you I was going to ask you, what are 3 things that you want me to make in this coming year?
I would like you to make, to finish the cardigan for me that you're making. I'm making
a cardigan for Christmas. I'm out of yarn. We're going to go get some more yarn today, though.
And I'm looking forward to it. And I've tried it on several times, and I think it looks good.
Mm-hmm. It's a reminisce cardigan, in fact. I'm using the same pattern.
And then I'd ask you to make me some mittens.
Mm-hmm. So I need to buy some yarn for that, because I realize I don't have anything that I like for it.
And so I'm looking forward to those.
Look for that today, too.
Okay. And then I would like you to make more of the dresses.
Oh.
Where you crochet the top.
So you just like things that are functional for you.
Yes.
What color? What color dress should I make, Steve? Inspire me.
Well, I would be inclined to say black, because then I know you'd wear it.
Oh, black. Black is a thing.
I'm trying to think, like...
I could, though.
You're not quite into a fandom enough, but I feel like you need a fandom dress of some sort.
I need to find, like, I don't know. I was just trying to think of something good, but I don't know that I have anything.
The closest would be like if you could get like turtles all the way down.
That'd be funny. That would be really funny. I don't know.
Now, would you want them like all across the skirt, like all the way around, or would you like a trail down? You could do a strip of turtles, so you can say the turtles are going all the way down.
I think that if I was going to make okay, so for those, Turtles All the Way Down is a book written by John Green. If I was going to make a Turtles All the Way Down dress, I think that I would actually crochet the whole thing using a turtle motif, and I would spiral turtles down the entirety.
All the way down.
No. No, I should not do that. I should not sit here and think about how to do that. So in reality, you think black?
Yeah, probably.
So should the fabric be black, or the bodice be black, or all of it be black?
Well, I think the bodice should be black because that's goes well with your hair and your shawls.
Now, should it also be incredibly sparkly? Should I make? Oh, I don't know if I want to make it out of that. Should I make it out of black sparkle yarn?
That would be pretty cool. I like black sparkle yarn. You like black sparkle yarn?
I do.
And then your skirt should be. Do you have any planet fabric left? I feel like you need a planety or a spacey themed.
I have that purple fabric I bought to make the drawer covers in my office with the little stars.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's regular stock at Joann's. I could probably buy more of that.
That would be pretty cool.
Or I could buy fabric with planets on it. That would be neat. Well, we are going to Joann's, and I got a gift card for my birthday. So I need to buy yarn for your sweater and yarn for your gloves. Apparently I need to look into getting stuff to make a dress. And I would like to make myself a black cardigan this year that I could just wear with everything that is just black. Not striped, no nothing, just plain black, boring. I think I need to embrace the boring a little more. Because when everything you make looks like a bottle of glitter threw up, it gets to be a little much. It's hard to mix and match glitter barf.
It is. Well, that's the issue, is the matching. It's not that you don't want to wear it.
No. Or I need to make more single-use items that are just glitter barf. I'm embracing the glitter. I didn't used to embrace the glitter the same way, but I definitely am. Now that I'm over embracing the purple hair, I'm just on to embracing the glitter.
Well, and you're less of the glitter in the catch the light, and more of the pieces of sparkly confetti in your yarn.
Yeah.
So it's not the glitter that rubs off and gets everywhere.
No, it's actually I hate that. If it gets on anything, it just makes me angry. So it has to be self-contained. So anyways, well, thank you for joining me.
You're welcome.
And participating with the pre-participating process. So many P's. So, speaking of which, if you'd like to support me on Patreon, you can in the link down below. So in the month of January, I am doing a promotion over on my site, shop.HookedByHappenstance.com, where I'm doing something called Hot and Fresh Daily, where every day at 1 p.m. I'm putting 2 bags up. Out of this big stack I have of bags that are cut and not sewn, I am taking the initiative to sew these bags 2 at a time and put them up in the shop for you at a discounted rate of $2 less than whatever they would normally go for. They will be at that price for 24 hours, and then they will move into regular stock at their regular price, unless they are gone. And when they're gone, they're gone. And I'm going to just keep working my way through the stack that way, so you never know what's going to show up. Follow me on Instagram at HookedByHappenstance, where I've been posting pictures of them. And again, check the site at 1 p.m. Central every day. Anything else?
No.
Alrighty. Thanks for joining us. Well, I'll see you next time.
I'll see you next time, too. It just might not be the next podcast.
Bye!